Well, good morning. Granny gear here for Old Guy in a Bike. Well, 2024, pretty much in the rear view mirror, is it not? And I was wondering, how many miles did you ride last year? Now, it seems like sometimes the whole world of cycling revolves around the numbers, doesn't it? Well, I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, for years, I never even used a computer on my bike. I just rode. But, lately I've come to enjoy some of the metrics and some of the facts. Now, Strava, of course, there's that. If it wasn't on Strava, well, it didn't happen, that kind of thing. And Mrs. Granny Gear, man, she didn't even want to go ride her bike if it isn't on Strava. That is so important to her. Now, for me, it's a whole lot less so. In fact, I don't even pay for it. I'm sucking the wheels of all you guys that are paying for Strava and keeping it afloat. Thank you. I appreciate that. But in the meantime, doesn't mean I don't look at some of the numbers sometimes because, hey, man, I like PRs just as much as the other guy or gal. But this has been an interesting year for me. It was the first year where I wasn't a working guy in a regular job, being a retired man of leisure, so I got to ride a whole lot more. And because of that, well, my mileage went up. So this is the first year where I actually looked, well, I looked at how many miles I rode, but when I did it? The last week of the year. Not exactly planning ahead, which shows how much I really care about that kind of stuff. But hey, I realized I was very, very, very close to a number, but I was going to be like 50 miles short. Well, I went out the other day, we rode to coffee and then went a whole lot extra and rode that 50 miles and then some because, hey, a goal is a goal is a goal, even if it's one that comes on you kind of all sudden like. So I thought just for fun, as the year wraps up, I do a couple things. One is look at the numbers I had, compare them to the numbers of a friend that makes mine seem kind of teeny. And I'm just curious. I'm curious to see how you did if you pay attention to such things. And I want to talk a little bit about the channel and something I think that was noticed over this last year that I think you guys would like to hear. All right, let's open up the laptop, shall we? And let's see what the numbers are. I'm getting myself into Strava, and I'll put a picture up on the screen. Strava does that little year-end in review for you, to give you how your year was. But basically, I'm going to read it off. So this year, I had 5,004 miles of riding, 5,004.4. 5,000 was my goal. I was sitting just shy, so I made that. That's kind of fun. And you know what? That really isn't that much, is it? I mean, that means I rode pretty consistently about 100 miles a week. And so one thing I like about that, if you look at my Strava, it's not like I went out had a big month and a bad month and a big month and a bad month. I was very consistency. And I'll tell you, if you want to keep your fitness at a nice, healthy level, consistency in any kind of program like this, exercise, lifestyle, it's key. Okay, so one thing I do like about my numbers, though, is look at the elevation gain, 320,224 feet. Now, I don't think that's too bad, actually. I mean, like I say, I'm sure there are people out there that have done much more than me. For instance, now this guy, I've known him for years. I knew him back when he was a pro mountain bike racer. So he's a pretty strong horsey, you know what I'm saying? Now, what he does now for a business, he lives most of the time in Italy where he does concierge and very customized cycling tours, road, gravel. And so if you just have you and a significant other or just you or a couple of friends and you want to have a nice mix of culture and riding or riding only, well, I'm going to put a link up to Mark's business in the description. Look him up. They do a great job, he and his wife, and a very cute little dog. Now, look at his numbers. Now, to begin with, shows here he rode 304 days out of the year. Wow, that's pretty consistency. His total distance, twice as much as mine, 10,958 miles. But you've probably already seen this, and maybe you're gasping, maybe you're faint. Take a look at this. Elevation gain, 1,151,699 feet. Wow. Kind of makes mine seem a little puny, doesn't it? Well, he is a stud, and me, well, I'm just an old guy and a bike. Now, one thing that happened this year that I'm really very, very pleased with. I can't say I'm proud of it because it's not about me. Well, it's about you guys. The channel has seen nice, steady, incremental growth. I think next year we should hit 5,000 subscribers without a whole lot of trouble. I think 5,000 subscribers ought to be good. And you know what? It's like every other channel that is on YouTube, most of my people that do watch me regularly are not subscribers. And if not, well, why not? Because hitting the subscribe button, you know what? I'm not about the numbers, but it does feel kind of good to see that number going up. So if you can help out there, that would be great. Now, let's talk about what was so good about 2024 in regards to this channel and you guys and gals. I have had at least, I can think of 4, and there may be a couple more if I sat and thought about it. Industry people that come from bicycle companies or product companies related to cycling that have been very, very complimentary to you. Yes, you, my audience. And I'll tell you why. They realize that you are a very, very, perhaps unappreciated but important group of cyclists. The mature, experienced cyclists, which really is what makes up most of this channel. At least that's what YouTube tells me in the metrics for the channel. It's been very complimentary to you. They think you're important. They think you're important enough to, on occasion, want to work with me in this channel. So you might see some things coming up in 2025 that'll reflect that. Maybe not full sponsorships, but relationships that we'll be building over the next year that I think really aren't necessarily because of me, although they do enjoy the way I do content. However, it's really about you guys because they think you are someone that they would like to get to know. Well, that's about it for 2024. You know what? This has been just a little bit of fun just to put the numbers up and just kind of see. Maybe I'll pay attention to that a little bit more in 2025 and try and, well, do a little bit better. How did you do this year? If you keep track of that, well, I'd like to know in the comments. Put it in there. I'd like to know just briefly maybe a little bit about you and the kind of writing you do. And give me your numbers. Share that with everybody because I think sometimes something like that for someone can be very inspirational. Well, 2025, it's just around the corner. Actually, well, it's really tomorrow, isn't it? It's really just around the corner. And I hope that 2024 for you guys has been a very, very blessed year for you. Hope it was full of good things, riding your bike, and hopefully getting healthier in the process and having a lot of fun. And I hope 2025, well, will be more of the same. You guys have a great week and or weekend. And as always, well, you know.